Sometimes we get involved with people who are chosen by Yah, and we may know it. Other times, we may get involved with people who are chosen by Yah, and we don't know it. This goes for people who are chosen by Yah and their descendants as well. You may have, say for instance, married a descendant of somebody who is a direct line to Yah, don't even know it. Or you may know it. You don't treat this person right, you will suffer the consequences. Let's take Abraham and his son Ishmael for example. So for this story, we're going to go to the book of Jasher, chapter 21, starting with verse 21. And of course, I'm using the Sefer Bible, and some of the words are going to be in Hebrew. And Ishmael dwelt in deserts and in tents, traveling and resting for a long time, and he did not see the face of his father. So he hadn't seen his father in probably years. And in some time after, Abraham said to Sarah, his wife, I will go and see my son Ishmael, for I have a desire to see him, for I have not seen him for a long time. So Abraham missed his son. He wanted to see him. He hadn't seen him in a long time. And it says, and Abraham rode upon one of his camels to the wilderness to seek his son Ishmael, for he had heard that he was dwelling in a tent in the wilderness with all belonging to him. And Abraham went to the wilderness, and he reached the tent of Ishmael about noon, and he asked after Ishmael, and he found the woman of Ishmael, so the wife of Ishmael, sitting in the tent with her children, and Ishmael, her husband, and his mother were not with them. So we can gather here that Hagar lived with Ishmael, the wife, and the children, and Ishmael and Hagar had went out into the field and were doing whatever they do. He was a great archer, so Hagar probably was a good archer too. She was out in the field with him, so we can presume that that was the case because she was with her son. Verse 25, and Abraham asked the wife of Ishmael, saying, where has Ishmael gone? And she said, he has gone to the field to hunt. And Abraham was still mounted upon the camel, for he would not get off to the ground, as he had sworn to his wife Sarah that he would not get off from the camel. Now right here, my woman's intuition immediately kicks in, because I know why Sarah told Abraham, you cannot get off that camel. Sarah knows that Hagar lives with Ishmael, the wife, and the kids, and she knows the past relationship of Abraham and Hagar. She said what she said, point blank to the period. Don't get off that camel. Verse 26, and Abraham said to Ishmael's wife, my daughter, give me a little water that I may drink, for I am fatigued from my journey. And Ishmael's wife answered and said to Abraham, we have neither water nor bread. And she continued sitting in the tent and didn't even notice Abraham. Neither did she ask him who he was. Now this woman sat up here and lied and said they didn't have water or bread. And she ignored Abraham, a man that traveled from far away on a camel, and he was of age. She ignored him, lied to him. That was the utmost disrespect. So how do we know that this woman is lying about not having water and bread? It's a fact that she was lying. If we go back to the book of Genesis, chapter 21, verses 20 through 21, we see, this is the NLT version, by the way, and it says, and God was with the boy as he grew up in the wilderness. God was with the boy. Yahuwah was with the boy. If you back up some, you'll know this is talking about when Ishmael and Hagar was sent away from the house because Sarah was upset about the way they were treating Isaac. And she did not want the slave woman, she said this herself. I don't want that slave woman and her son in my house. But Yah was with Ishmael. He became a skillful archer, and he settled in the wilderness of Paran. Yah was with him, meaning he didn't want for anything because Yah was with him. Anytime you hear something that says Yah is with somebody, they are straight. And Ishmael was Abraham's son, so of course he was going to be straight. I don't care if he was from a slave woman or what. He was a descendant of Abraham, and Yah was with him. Abraham had a direct line to Yah, and all his descendants were blessed. Yah was with them. So this is proof that that woman lied, that they didn't have no bread or water. They probably had an abundance of bread or water. Ishmael was a skillful archer, and he settled in the wilderness of Paran. His mother arranged for him to marry a woman from the land of Egypt. Okay, mic drop. This right here is a clue as to probably the reason why he having a problem with this woman. It says his mother arranged for him to marry a woman from the land of Egypt. His mother arranged for him to marry a woman from the land of Egypt. His mother arranged it. He got a whole daddy that's got a direct line to Yah, but his mother is sitting up here arranging marriages. Okay, and let's go back to the book of Jasher. Let's just go back a few more verses and to see exactly who this woman is. So this actually picks right back up from where Genesis 20 left off. It's Jasher 21, the same chapter we were reading before. And we're going to go back a little bit to verse 17. And it says, and he as in Ishmael, and his mother as in Hagar, afterward went to the land of Egypt. And they dwelt there. And Hagar took a wife for her son from Egypt. And we get a name here. We didn't get this in Genesis. And her name was Meribah. So the regular spelling of it is Meribah. And the woman of Ishmael conceived and bore 4 sons and 2 daughters. So they had 6 kids. She had 6 kids she was sitting up there cussing at. And Ishmael and his mother and his wife and children afterward went and returned to the wilderness. And they made themselves tents with an S in the wilderness in which they dwelt. And they continued to travel and then to rest monthly and yearly. So this could be the reason why she was upset. She was tired of traveling around. Ishmael liked to travel around. He was a man of the wilderness. He was a wild man. He loved the wilderness. He loved to travel. Maybe she was sick of that. I don't know. Maybe she was tired of not having a steady place to call her own because they were traveling yearly and monthly. That could be one of the reasons why she was the way she was. But verse 20 is proof that she was a lie and the truth was not in her. And the Lord gave Ishmael flocks and herds and tents on account of Abraham, his father. See that? Because of his father, Abraham, the man with the direct line to Yah, because he was a precious, rare jewel of Yah's. A direct line. And Ishmael was his descendant. He came from his loins. That was his son. And it says the man increased in cattle. So that Meribah lied. So when you treat the Lord's precious jewel, Yah's precious jewel, like that, watch what happens. Okay, so that gave some background on Ishmael, the wife, and why she was a lie and the truth is not in her. But let's go back forward to where we were. So instead of being respectful to the elderly visitor, verse 28 says, she was beating her children in the tent, and she was cursing them, and she was also cursing Ishmael and reproached him. So in the Webster Dictionary, reproach is listed as a noun and a verb. So we know that in this specific situation, it's used as a verb because it is used as reproached. So it means to express disappointment in or displeasure with a person for conduct that is blameworthy or in need of amendment. To make something a matter of reproach or to bring into discredit. So Ishmael's wife was living in an unhappy marriage, and she was upset with Ishmael. She was upset with the children that she had by Ishmael. She was ignoring Abraham. She was blaming everybody except for herself, what was going on with that unhappy marriage. And back to the end of verse 28, it says that Abraham heard the words of Ishmael's wife to her children, and he was very angry and displeased. Now, not only did she lie to him, she's treating his grandchildren like trash, blaming the grandchildren because of the daddy. Doesn't this sound familiar? Everybody either has a family member or friend or associate that acts this way. Everybody. I don't care who it is. If you say you don't, you was alive from the pit of hell, the bottomless pit of hell. Everybody knows somebody that's like this.